In flight, you will always walk the earth with your eyes turned skyward. For there you have been, and there you will always long to be. Leonardo da Vinci. Isn't that why we're all here tonight? Isn't that what the Wright brothers Memorial Trophy is all about? And does anyone more than tonight's honoree, R.A. Bob Hoover, epitomize Da Vinci's vision? I can't tell you how proud and sincerely humbled I am to have been asked to say a few words about Bob Hoover in what I believe may be one of the most memorable Wright Brothers award dinners in many, many years. I spent some time before the dinner talking to Bob and Sean Tucker, and all these bullet points I've got written down almost went out the window. And I said to Sean, I said, where do I start? How do you talk about the life of Bob Hoover in 5 minutes? Sean said, well, you could start at the bar at Oshkosh. He said, then you can go to the bar at the air races in Reno. And he said, if that doesn't cover 5 minutes, you can go ahead and conclude at the bar in Las Vegas. Now, these are stories, Bob, I'm not sure you want to hear.
It's true, though.
But they are true. I want to tell you, fate has treated me over the years very kindly, far more kindly than I deserve, but never more so than when my path crossed that of Bob Hoover's. I was a young kid during World War II when all this was going on. And like most kids, I had a dream. And I vividly remember watching on those black and white newsreels we had at the theater. I know it's going to amaze some of you, but we didn't have television back then. And I remember watching those unsung heroes of their time, of those days, many who, most of whom are not with us anymore, many of whom have become icons of their profession. And I watched them make flying machines do what appeared to me impossible. And tonight is a special evening for me because one of those unsung heroes that I watched as a kid is right here with us tonight. It was from that point on that I knew that I wanted to fly. It was a passion. I wanted to be like one of them. I wanted to be a Bob Hoover, and I didn't even know who Bob Hoover was at that point in time. But that dream was in reality way beyond my grasp. Bob, there are many others, almost everyone in this room, and thousands others that have that same dream. Young men and young women who you've inspired to do what they thought was impossible, that you've instilled a passion in, Bob, and you've made them feel like there wasn't anything they couldn't do if they wanted to do it badly enough. You instilled a passion in their hearts to someday live the Da Vinci dream. I'm not going to go into all your honors and all your records. I'm not going to go into all the recognition you've received over the years. I think everybody knows Bob Hoover, and everybody knows of your lifetime of accomplishments in aviation. But I would like to share with you a moment, one of those first times I had a chance to meet Bob Hoover. Bob, you may remember, it was back, I don't know how many years ago, at the Paris Air Show. And you may not remember, although your mind is like a trap, you might. You were a test pilot for North American at the time. But as I recall, you were asked and given permission by Northrop to demonstrate the F-5 in that Paris Air Show. And I remember you telling me, or at least I learned at some point later, that after you fanned an airplane, after you prepared your routine and flew for several days in the Paris Air Show, that you had a grand total, if I'm not mistaken, of some 10 hours in the airplane. That's when I realized that Bob Hoover was somebody different. That's when I learned that for Bob Hoover, good was never good enough. Because each and every day of that air show, each and every day he performed, it got better and better and better until his performance became truly unbelievable. And perhaps that's the only word that describes your achievements, particularly in aviation, is unbelievable. And I might say, for those of you, and I'm sure there are many who have spent an evening until 2 a.m. in a bar with Bob Hoover, your achievements in a bar are unbelievable. But that truly is the only word that I can think of that adequately describes your life. Bob, you've heard it said today, you've been called a pilot's pilot, and you indeed are a pilot's pilot. You've been called a gentleman's gentleman, both in the cockpit and on the ground, and indeed you are a gentleman's gentleman. Bob, you are here tonight to be honored by those who do indeed respect you and love you. And once upon receiving the Wright Brothers Memorial Trophy, I honestly believe that you have now reached the top of the mountain. It's been a long climb, and you've earned it and deserved it. And not to deny your unbelievable accomplishments, we don't just love you for what you've done. We love you for who you are. There is not a man nor a woman in this room who, when we grow up, don't want to be just like R.A. Bob Hoover. Congratulations. Congratulations, Bob. It's an honor well-deserved and perhaps long overdue. God bless. I wish you all a Merry Christmas. And Bob, may you always find fair winds and following seas. Thank you.